Hi guys, Samantha here. In today's video, we're going to go over 9 things that you might not realize about Walt Disney World. If you're new here, welcome to my channel, Sam's Fairy Tale Life. Please consider subscribing down below and clicking the little bell icon so you don't miss any future content. And consider coming to follow me on Instagram. I will link that down below. And if you've been here before, welcome back. So let's get started. We're going to go over 9 things that you might not realize about Walt Disney World. And I kind of have split it up into 3 categories. I have 3 rules that you are expected to follow at Walt Disney World. I have 3 things Disney offers to make your stay easier, and 3 extras that you can do at Walt Disney World that maybe you didn't realize you could do these activities there. So let's get started. First, we're going to do 3 rules that you are expected to follow when at Walt Disney World. And number 1 is you cannot fly a drone at Walt Disney World. Now, this is because parts of Walt Disney World, including some of the parks and hotels, are actually in a no-fly zone. But they just have that rule extended to all of Walt Disney World properties. So leave your drones, your helicopters, all of your electronic flying cameras at home. And rule number 2 is they do not sell gum at Walt Disney World or at Orlando International Airport. So if you are a gum chewer, whether on an airplane or you just like to chew it, you are allowed to bring it into the parks, but they do not sell it. So bring it from home if you are a gum chewer. And then rule number 3 is sometimes people might not realize if they don't frequent Disney, or just a general rule that if you're a first-time visitor, you might not even realize is a rule, is adults cannot wear costumes, and that is anybody 14 years and older. This is for your safety, for your kids' safety. You know, if you show up dressing like one of the characters, it could confuse some young ones, or they might try and come up to you and they just don't want to risk anybody's safety. So no impersonating characters while you're there. Anybody under 14, so 13 and younger, they are allowed to wear costumes. They're not considered an adult. There are still a few rules that apply, like you can't wear masks and some things. So just make sure you check out Disney's policies about that on their website. There are a couple events that there are exceptions made. So if you're attending Star Wars Galactic Nights or the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, there are a different set of rules for adults in costumes. You are allowed to wear costumes. There are just special guidelines that you're expected to follow, like no capes that go, I think, below the waist, or nothing that drags on the ground, still no masks. So just make sure you check out those policies before attending one of those parties. But those are the only chances that adults have to dress up at Disney World. And then the next one that I want to do is 3 things that Disney offers that maybe you didn't realize that they offer that will make your stay easier. So the first thing I want to talk about is a couple of Disney's big thrill rides offer single rider lines. It's exactly what it sounds like. If you are a single rider, meaning just one person riding this ride, you get in a separate line from the standby line, and they kind of pull from the single rider line to fill carts and make sure every ride is going out full. This line almost always will have a much shorter wait. So if if nobody else in your party wants to ride the ride with you, just get in the line. You'll be in and out in 20 minutes. Or, you know, if you're traveling maybe with older kids, or it's just, you know, you and your significant other, and you don't mind getting on a separate coaster or whatever, a separate ride cart from one another, then I definitely suggest the single rider line, because you do still stand in line together. It's just where you sit. You won't sit together. And there are 3 rides in the parks that offer the single rider line, and it's Test Track at Epcot, Everest at Animal Kingdom, and the Rock and Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios. So, you know, maybe you consider skipping a fast pass for that if you're an older group traveling and you can just get in the single rider line. I know that's something that I've done with my family in the past. Me and my aunt did a single rider line once for Test Track, and we still ended up in the same car together. So that is always a possibility too, but you won't be too far behind one another. So that's definitely something to consider. And Disney also offers a rider swap, which is a program that allows, if you're traveling with young ones who maybe don't meet the height requirements, or they're just not ready for like a specific ride, it allows like one group to ride the ride while another one waits with the kid, and then you swap, and the one who is waiting with the child gets given like a voucher from a cast member, and they can go back on the ride, and you enter through the fast pass line. So again, much shorter wait because your party has already waited in the standby line. And usually that person from the second party who waited the first time around can bring up to 3 guests with them. So, you know, some of those people who rode in party 1, they can ride again the second time around. So what you would do is you would just, before getting in line, maybe ask the cast member, just make sure that they offered rider swap at that particular ride, but almost all the rides do throughout the parks. And they'll give you a voucher, you know, for party 2 to go wait with the child, usually outside of the ride. And then they'll just get back in line after you've ridden the ride. And again, like, I can link some of these Disney policies down below too, if you just want to like read them, save them, print them out so you have this information for yourself. I can kind of link those pages down below as well. So then the third one I want to talk about is if you're in the parks shopping and you are buying souvenirs and don't want to carry them around for the remainder of the day, at checkout you can ask the cast member, if you're staying on property, to actually deliver those packages directly to your room. So if you're staying on property at any gift shop throughout Disney, at checkout you can say you want it delivered to your room. And now that usually takes some time, like it's not necessarily going to be there within the hour, but it will show up in your room before you check out, usually within 24 hours. So that's a great way to not have to carry stuff around. It can just be brought directly to your room. They do have the capability too to mail stuff home for you. If you're buying something like really heavy or something like that, you can have it shipped home as well. But, you know, if you're buying hats or Mickey ears or shirts, sweatshirts, any of that stuff that you don't want to be stuck lugging around all day, just have it delivered to your resort room, and then that's it. You don't have to worry about it again. And then the next 3 things I want to go over are 3 like activities or extras that you can do in Walt Disney World that maybe you didn't realize you could do. And the first one is if you're celebrating a special occasion, you can actually call a cake ordering hotline, and you can have a cake delivered to a specific reservation or your resort room. So like if you're celebrating your daughter's birthday and you're having dinner at Cinderella's castle and you want like a special birthday celebration cake delivered directly to the restaurant, you can set that up. I would call and check with each specific restaurant Most of them require 48 hours to 72 hours in advance making this accommodation. But again, you can call a cake ordering hotline and have it delivered either to your resort room or to a specific restaurant reservation. And then the next two are like activities that you could do. And so you can actually go horseback riding at Walt Disney World. So like when people tend to think about Disney, they think about theme parks and rides and shopping and eating, and they don't realize some of the extra activities like that are just completely outside of all of that that you can do. And one of them is horseback riding at Fort Wilderness. It is a 45-minute trail ride at $55 a person, and you would book that by calling the Disney Play hotline. You do have to be at least 48 inches tall and under 250 pounds. That's just for your safety and for the horse's safety. But yeah, you can go horseback riding at Fort Wilderness. And then the third thing is you can actually go scuba diving at Walt Disney World. You are nowhere near the ocean, but you can go scuba diving. So if you can prove that you are scuba certified, because they don't certify you here, you have to be scuba certified and at least 10 years old. If you can prove you are scuba certified and you're at least 10 years old or older, you can go scuba diving at Epcot. It's $179 per person, and you get to go scuba diving over at the Seas with Nemo and Friends. In that tank, you can go scuba diving, and it also includes a backstage tour of all of that and how they take care of all of those aquarium animals and that whole backstage tour. So it's like a 3-hour tour / scuba diving. As long as you can prove, you can show a certificate or a card or something that says you are scuba certified. So that's it. That is 9 things that you might not have realized about Walt Disney World. If you have any other tips or suggestions for other people, leave that down below. Maybe I can do another video in the future on things you didn't know. And that's it. If you found this video interesting or helpful, please consider liking it, sharing it, or subscribing down below. And make sure you come follow me on Instagram. And I'll link that down below as well. And I'll try to find links for all of this stuff, you know, some of the informational things, and leave those down below as well. And make sure you come back next week, and I'll see you then. Bye.